Elise Adame.
I love it.
Jim Ziegler, the Alpha Dawg. We'll do a little housekeeping here and be sure I got this thing completed the way it needs to be. Which means I'm going to make it public. There you are. Done deal. Jim Ziegler, the Alpha Dawg, my guest today, Elise Kephart Adame. Hello, Elise. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Hey, Jerry. He just popped on. I love you can see the comments.
Oh, Jerry Peppers is there.
Ariel.
Ariel's a great friend. So is Jerry.
Yeah.
Dilly, Jerry.
Wait. I got to ask, what does dilly dilly mean?
Well, don't you watch Bud Light commercials?
No, I do not.
Okay, well then you don't understand dilly.
All right, now I'm gonna have to Google it.
I was in a bar the other night, and every drink was going dilly, and I'm going, oh God. Hey, Chris Sexton's aboard. Let's let this audience build up a second before we get into anything meaningful. That's just amazing.
We're talking about dilly.
Yeah.
Super
Jerry
people.
Peppers, say hello to Tex for me. Tex is a great friend. Hey, Jerry, by the way, private message me Tex's cell phone number. I don't have it. I need Tex's cell phone number. I wrote it down, and my gosh, I can't find it, so get it for me. Okay, Elise Kephart Adame, I've known her, my gosh, how long?
Well, actually, I pulled up a little prop here because I was getting sentimental. I don't know if you can see this because it's so small. Can you see this?
Sort of, yeah, I remember. I know what it is, yes.
This is the ad for my first battle plan. July 20th, 2011. Rory Vaden. That was the Rory Vaden.
Was that one it was New Jersey, wasn't it?
No, there was Vegas, and to back that one up, there was also Jersey. So he was at both of them. But my first one was the Golden Nugget, and he was at that one.
That's the one where we went to the sushi place and had all the sushi.
Yes. I was gonna print that picture out, but I was like, there's some people in that photo that.
My son Zach was with us on that trip, as I recall.
Yep. So
that was battle plan 4 or 5 or 6 or something like that.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's that's what I was thinking, like that, and that just a little bit of background. That was Jim. That was before I was married. That was before I was a mother. That was before I even had a boy. I mean, I was like single technically, there's been so much just on both ends of the spectrum, just as far as career wise and personal life, like it's just been crazy, like in all said and done, a long period of time, but kind of a short period of time too.
And there's Brittany Grayer just came on, Rodney Williams, Chris Sexton. We're building a little audience up here, and we'll get into the meat of this thing in a minute. Let's just socialize for a little bit. Now, Elise has a varied career. She started out as a barista.
Oh, I was a Starbucks barista, yes.
And now, do you still know how to make like a latte? And
I still know how to write. I still know how to. If I had to have a Starbucks cup and like write the shortcuts for like the syrup, I would be able to pick it up like that.
It's amazing, So many people want to brag about their education. Our education came from where it came from. Do you have a degree?
I have I'm right up there with you, James, HSG, which is high school graduate. Yeah, never got my associate. I mean, I can remember after high school going to like a community college, but I was working so much trying to my mindset was like, I want to make as much money as possible. But I was working so much that school kind of became like a second option, and I wasn't interested in it. And so then I never finished. So, but yeah. So
I went to Memphis State University for 2 semesters. And I had the distinction of being kicked out by the dean of the entire college.
Oh, Maybell says she has a degree in photography. And, what's crazy is as I actually, the school that I did want to go to was a private institute called Brooks University, which is like videography and photography. So I guess backtracking it back that far, like that whole niche has kind of been my thing. Even in high school, I took there's a picture of me in the yearbook, like holding a video camera. But back then it was like video camera that you had to hold on your shoulder. Yeah. So that was like the YouTube Diva before the YouTube Diva, because internet YouTube wasn't around.
That's my creation. I named you the YouTube Diva. I mean, I put that on you.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. That's like, and I remember when it came out too, like it was just at a battle plan where you're like the YouTube Diva. And then people would like, oh, you're the YouTube Diva. That's where it came from.
I have just tagged Jason Gerdner with the name, the Facebook marketing king.
Yeah.
Then you went to Heller Ford, right?
Yeah, my first dealership, Heller Ford, that was Escondido. That was just floor sale. I'd actually applied to 2 Mossy stores. Like Mossy was the big, maybe I shouldn't say names on here, but that was the big dealer group. And I didn't even have a car at that time, Jim. Like I had to take the bus to these interviews. It was nuts. And like they both were like, oh, no sales experience. And then I walked into a good old, family owned Ford dealership. And I remember the question, like, what have you ever sold? Like that was what, it was going to be my first sales position. And I hadn't sold anything up to that point other than literally at Starbucks, like beans of coffee, And so that's what I said. I've sold beans. I've sold coffee beans. Like, I know, but hey, I got hired. So but that definitely, even thinking like, because that was before Honda. So there's a lot of people associate, I think, with me in the car business at Honda, but there was 2 years prior to that, where I don't even think YouTube was around, but I wasn't doing videos back then. I was just, it was my first 2 years in the car business, hot sun in Southern California in Escondido for Memorial Day, where, and I remember they had the up system. They just installed that up system, and I'd be out in my heels.
DJ Heller and his father for 25 years.
Yeah.
I consulted that dealership way back in the day. Back in the day. Yeah. So
I remember. Yeah.
He's with NADA now.
Yep. Yeah. So it's, but yeah, so then I went to Heller, and then, that was in Escondido, and I'm from San Luis Obispo. So I moved back up north, and a lot, and what's kind of interesting is I didn't go immediately to Honda. This was like right around the time where, Chrysler and GM had declared bankruptcy, right? They'd went through that bailout, and, Ford, like working with Ford, I remember like the market was down. Everybody, the market was down a little bit. So when I moved back up north, I kind of debated like, hey, do I want to get in the car business again? So I actually took a part-time, like just cash under the table barista job again. And then I was going to go back to school, and then Cash for Clunkers hit. That's when Cash for Clunkers hit. And so I was getting these texts like, oh, it's like amazing right now because this Cash for Clunkers thing had kicked in. So
was big time.
Yeah. So then I posted this a couple times. At that point, I just went on Craigslist. There's an ad for a Toyota dealership for a salesperson. And I want to get back in, and I'm thinking like something gas and economical, because that's what people are trading in their clunkers for. Right. So this Toyota dealership hires me, and they're like, when can you start? And I said, I'm going to need a week. Right. I didn't want to bail on the coffee shop people. They were like a mom and pop, shop. So then he hired me. And then in that week time frame, you could even find it on Twitter. I hadn't even started yet, but I made a Elise Toyota Twitter. This was in 2009 at this point. I made business cards with Toyota. I created
marketing yourself on Twitter.
Yeah. There's an Elise Toyota, because I hadn't started yet. And so then Monday rolls around, and I was in such a bad place in my life, I couldn't even pay my phone bill. So I guess what had happened is that weekend they had called me to start, and I didn't get the message till that Monday, because I was thinking a week out, the original plan. And so when I called back, they were like, no, we filled the position, which I can understand. I didn't get the message on Monday, but then I had the courage, I remember, to call back and be like, look, and I told them, I said, I've made a Twitter, I've done this, and I told them, I said, I know there's room for one more spot, with the right person. And I asked for the sale again. He's like, no, maybe try the Kia store up in Paso Robles. So he turned me down. And then, so at that moment, I'm like, oh, dang, I don't have a job right now, technically. But then I went to Honda right next door, and got hired there, like say, on the spot.
Sunset Honda.
Yeah, Sunset Honda. But then for the next, like for the 5 years that I worked at Sunset Honda, every day, Toyota dealership right there, like where it was kind of just this, and even to this day, because I still live here, I passed the Toyota dealership, and I've bought a couple Toyotas since then, but not from there. But I passed that Toyota dealership, and it's kind of like this moment of, wow, like, I don't know. I don't know. I guess I kind of like, I hope they got the Wards, I hope they got the Wards magazine article on their desk with the girl that they turned down. There's situations like that where I think you run into rejection, but it just like every time it's almost like you'll have. I
have a friend named John McDonald who owned a dealership in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I applied to go to work for him, and I've never let him live this down. And he didn't hire me. He hired the girl with the ample bosoms. And that wasn't really sexist because he had many choices. But I went on Set World Records. I don't know what she did, but amazing enough, just choices people make. They turned you down. They turned me down.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
But it's like the thing that I love about even the like the car business, especially, I can remember, like it gets you thick skin real quick. Like for me, coming from Starbucks to like just the environment, facing rejection all the time. Like even you get thick skin real quick.
You can't do rejection. I've been selling cars for 42 years.
Yeah.
And rejection is a part of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing.
A customer tells you no.
Yeah.
Like, has that happened before? Of course it's going to happen. Like, you might as well just accept it and like know how to overcome it.
The answer being no problem.
Yeah.
I never let anybody know that no bothers me.
Yeah.
And no problem. And I'll tell dealers that when I'm making 100 phone calls a day to sell Battle Plan. Jim, we can't do it. And I don't make them make excuses. No problem. I've been doing business for 42 years. We'll catch up at another time. And that attitude, I want people to know that I'm non-threatening when I call them.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's about the time I met you.
When?
What, 2010?
2000, I think you had 2010. We hadn't, because this battle plan was in 11. So, but I think we started like chatting on, I don't even think Facebook Messenger was around back then, but I think you had called me at the dealership.
I was featuring you before I knew.
Yes, that's right. You were featuring, yeah.
About it because, I was speaking.
Oh, I searched it on YouTube back then. I think it's still out there when you were talking about me. And I think Ralph was, I think it was Ralph. Well, yeah. Yeah.
It was amazing because I was speaking at Digital Dealer and I was introducing video to the class.
Yeah.
I had just been to a National Speakers Association convention. I came back and I stood on the stage at Digital Dealer and I had a general session. I had like 400.
Can you imagine back then? Like they were like, whoa, hold the horses. Like, what is this?
I said, folks, do you know what this is? And everybody looked at it and then nobody knew what it was. It was a flip camera.
Well, and now we have these. Like, I mean, it's so much easier than it used to be. So much easier. It's not like triple.
I'm gonna guess a new Google phone.
Oh, I'll put that up to my iPhone 10. Ooh.
I'll blow your iPhone away with my Google phone.
I'm actually a lot of people with like the Bambang app, for example, have a Samsung, and I'm always like, I can't troubleshoot it because I don't have one. So I might just get one. I don't know.
The Google Pixel 2
just to have a Samsung and use it.
The best, most clear camera you have ever seen.
I will agree. Like it does take good pictures. I think a friend of mine was talking about it the other day and his pictures on Facebook that he posts, I always think are edited because they're these really nice like scenic pictures. And he's like, no, that's like no editing. That's just how that takes the picture. I'm like, wow, that is pretty good.
And it's the fastest processor I've ever seen in a camera. I mean, it just flies. I mean, goes right through it. Anyway, I was talking about you at Digital Dealer.
Oh, right.
I had just been to the National Speakers Association, and a speaker named Terry Brock, who is really a techno nerd, had showed everybody the flip camera. So here I was speaking a month later at Digital Dealer. So I said, I'm going to show them the flip camera. I took a picture of somebody, a video of somebody in the audience. I walked over to my laptop on the podium and stuck it in my laptop, played the video on the screen, emailed it back to them. And they thought that was amazing.
But you had to do it on YouTube back then, right?
Right. Then I saw you.
Oh, yeah. So that,
I was going across the internet and I said this one. And because I was already teaching video response advertising. I was teaching that before I knew you. But it wasn't the quality of the work you were doing. And I said, my God, I got to meet this woman. So I was talking about you at Digital Dealer. I mean, you were famous before you were famous.
Yeah.
And then I called you and I said, look, you got to be at some of these events. I brought you out to Battle Plan.
Yeah.
And I named you the YouTube diva in the commercial.
Yeah, we were talking about that. That's so nuts. That's it. Literally, people, where's that come? Well, it's not only like it came from you, but it came from you at a very, it wasn't a conversation like this between you and I. Well, I guess, and everybody on Facebook watching this, but it came out, at Battle Plan. Like
it was in the ads. I mean,
you didn't even like forewarn me or anything like that. It just
know you were the YouTube diva. I made you the YouTube diva before you even knew you were her. And then it was off to the races. How many Battle Plans have you spoken?
I don't know, Jim. To be honest, I haven't. I don't know.
I'm gonna say 6, 7.
Quite a few.
And
quite a few, yeah.
You're definitely speaking to the next one in August.
Yeah. I think the only times other than when I was pregnant, I think I even spoke pregnant at one of the Battle Plans.
Pregnant,
very knowing.
I was in the back boiling water and tearing sheets. You were so pregnant. I mean, it was like.
Yeah. I don't think I ever spoke when I was pregnant with Lily.
No, I don't think so. Mabel Peralta says, if it weren't for Elise, I would never have gotten Bambang and do what I do.
And she is like the queen now, like straight up the queen. And I love, Mabel, that it's with Volvo. Like her and I have talked about this before. I would say with video, email, and so forth, it's all different brands, but you see less of the brand like Volvo, which I think since Mabel is with the Volvo brand, like she's really branded herself in like the whole, like I said, video email aspect, but it's like to the Volvo brand. She does it really, really well. So, and
Mabel's a superstar. We love Mabel.
Yeah.
I got to tell you now, honest to goodness, I work for the biggest Volvo dealer in history. That was one of the places where I made my bones. I mean, we were legendary in Volvo, and I say we because there was 5 extremely talented managers. We were selling 800 new and used Volvos a month in the 80s.
Yeah.
And so and Mabel and I have had that conversation. Amazing. So technology. So now we've moved ahead, and you left Sunset, and you were speaking at the events. You went to work for a telephone training company for a while.
Do you want to know how many years it's been since I've left Honda? It'll blow your mind a little bit. It's almost been 4 years.
Really?
Yeah, 2014, and it was.
Like it just.
And yeah, and like the time like that I worked with Honda was 5 years. So it's almost this whole other chapter, right? Like it's almost 5. It's 4 years. It'll be 4 years this June.
Okay, so the next thing you went to work for a telephone training company.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they had a very short stint with a video company.
I think it went like this. It was like a blink. Like, I don't think. Yes. Yeah.
You didn't take my advice on that one.
I mean, and who we're talking about, like, I still, I really don't like to have, beef with anybody. So we still, I respect many things about him, and we're still good. So I don't want it to come off like he's watching this.
We're not naming names here. We're just going up to now. So right. now you're doing Bambang.
Now I'm, that's a lot of people are like associating the Bambang stuff with me. It's not my company, but it just pairs so well with what I teach. So, obviously I teach internet process and, mastering that skill set of, I want the appointment to show up, but how do I get the appointment to actually come in, and how do I get engagement with customers and build relationships?
Let's be clear. Bambang is a part of your business.
Yes. Yes.
You are a BDC trainer, coach, innovator. You are everything about BDC because you were so successful yourself. And I know how successful you were on the retail side. And, I often refer to how successful I was in the retail side because every consultant out there can't say that.
Well, to be honest, it's because of Facebook and social media, even in real time as it was happening. I think you and I have talked about this. You and I obviously go back, but as there was that time frame where I was still working retail, and and working at the dealership and going to battle plans. And so I started to get people that would follow me even up to that point. So a lot of in the moment things like, hat trick days and like just boards of appointments like scheduled up like as it was happening, and copies of the video emails that I was doing back then. A lot of people have watched that in real time and the success with it. So it's one thing. Yes, I think if a consultant or what have you, a trainer, hasn't actually been in the fire, never had any actual results. And I think that is kind of one of the things that makes my process a little different is it's not just like, hey, I'm teaching it just to teach it, but it's something that I developed and something that I got to actually utilize when I was at a dealership, and what continues to even, successfully work when I give literally, and I give the blueprint to dealers, and to individuals. So it's kind of exciting I guess I didn't plan well when I titled my business the Elise Kephart Experience, because I'm more and more starting to realize that everything that I teach is specific to my brand and to exactly what I teach. But it's been definitely it's been exciting to just see it unravel.
Elise, super performer that you are. I know that you've got a lot of integrity, and that means something to me because there are so many people in our industry that don't have that integrity.
Yeah.
You never need to lie, cheat, deceive, misrepresent to sell cars.
Right.
And you can still do big numbers in today's market. And I've seen you do big numbers.
Yeah.
But I remember when you were in retail and you were doing the things you teach now, when you were actually making appointments and you were actually putting the $2 bill in people's gas caps, and when you were doing all the things that you teach.
Yeah.
And see, that's the thing. I'm going to regress. And I had $1 million a year contract with Ford 25, 30 years ago. And one of the vice presidents of Ford says, how come your stuff works? I said, because we really do it. And I know you've heard me say this, in the car business, we don't have a knowing problem. We have a doing problem.
Yes.
Have you heard me say that?
I've heard, I think, yes.
We don't have a knowing problem. We have a doing problem. Everybody wants to talk about training. Our people are trained. They're not doing what they're trained. Training is not the answer. Doing is the answer.
And I think part of training is you have to relate to the people that are supposed to be absorbing and applying the training on their level, so that, so that they see the value. Like, the reason why when people get training, you don't want to do something is because you don't see the value in it working, or you don't actually physically know how to do it. So once, if it's something that people go, wow, this is a value and this does work, then they're going to be more motivated to do it because they see the results from it, right? They do it. They see the results almost, as long as they see that. Once you see the results, then it's motivating to actually want to do the process, as long as you know how to do it. So
that's why I became a management trainer. I'm not really a sales trainer.
Yeah.
Grant Cardone, Joe Verdi, there's a lot of sales trainers out there. But I always wanted to teach people to supervise. Because managers don't understand. You got 3 job descriptions. You're a manager, you're a supervisor, and those are 2 of them, and you're a trainer. You're basically training people how to do the processes. So to be a supervisor, to be a manager, is very important that they realize supervision is part of their job description.
Right.
To be sure that these processes don't fade away. How many times you see a trainer go in a dealership, and as soon as they leave, the whole process starts to go away?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It starts to revert to back what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't have a knowing problem. They know what to do. They have a doing problem.
Well, and it's consistency. That is the key. You can't, it's definitely consistency with anything. Well, we hear a lot of times training for what you do, what your process is or what you're doing at the dealership is very similar to if you were getting trained by a gym trainer, right? It's going to take consistency there. Not just hey, I'm going to do this, right now because I feel like it, and then I just don't do it, and then I don't get the results that I want. So
trained by a gym trainer, you've seen me. That's not part of my experience.
But just holding yourself accountable and again, it's one of those, for me, just with video email alone. So my husband, he's obviously, we've known each other since forever, but when we were dating, that's kind of around the same time, give or take, that you and I had met, and I was going to battle plans. And so he's seen me through this whole video email journey from pretty early on as well. And he's finally using video email for what he does, but it's not like he didn't want to. I mean, I feel kind of good because I kind of feel like I closed my husband on understanding the value in video email, because now he does it. No, he does it so much, and he gets, he's on the service side of the business, so he does it to show customers what's wrong with their car and close out an invoice. And it's I told him, you're like the Mr. YouTube diva, Mr. Bambang.
I was teaching that with the flip camera.
Yeah.
When I was doing flip camera videos, I was teaching service advisors, sir, look, this is what your brakes look like, and this is why you need a whole brake job. And we were videoing the whole thing.
Yeah.
And, which is rudimentary. I mean, much light years ahead now, but still, that was what I was doing.
Yeah. And I will say this was actually, and this was a question, is video email too advanced? The basics of BDC should be appointment conversion, right? And so with that, it's kind of this thing, and that's why, it's not just video email that I teach. That's one aspect of it. But if you look at just typical BDC or internet follow-up, you could be the best follow-up person with the master video emails, from every angle. But if you don't know how to, what to actually do once that video email turns into a phone call, if you don't know how to handle that phone call and, know your objections on point, if you don't know just the quote unquote basics of that, then you're not going to get, the results that you want. So it's kind of a combination of you have to be, video email helps with the follow-up to get the phone call, but you got to know how to take that phone call too, which is, which is important. I think that was somebody asked me that, what's more important, like follow up or phone call? And I said, well, you need both. Like, I don't think there's really I mean, if I had to choose, then probably the phone call for starters, but then you know, sprinkle a little bit of good follow-up on there, and that's your process. Amazing follow-up to get the phone call, and just how to handle the phone call to an appointment. I love it. I still do it like every day with dealers. You know, I get on the phone and as Elise Timberlake behind me, and we make calls.
Yeah, Justin Timberlake. Yeah. I was going to make a joke, but I know you are eat up infatuated with Justin Timberlake.
It's a little over the top, I think. I mean, he's in my back.
I know you like Justin.
Maybe he'll watch this, and I've been trying to send him a couple tweets, and he hasn't gotten back to me. So maybe this will be the video.
Okay. All right. Justin Timberlake. I knew he was going to be in this conversation somewhere. Okay. CRM. How important is CRM?
Well, I don't know if it was pre-show that we were talking about for our businesses CRM, but CRM's like, it needs to be, if it didn't happen in the CRM, it didn't happen. You know, that is the communication portal amongst everybody. It's pretty crucial. You know, it shows all the documentation of what is happening with the customer. If a manager needs to pick up that file or that customer, he knows. There's no like, what if, you know, yeah, I think what we run into is ease of use, and like, you have to train a little bit maybe to know how to use the CRM, and it's kind of like a little bit of growing pains there for a second, but then you use it and it just skyrockets. It kind of, I mean, respectfully, it kind of blows my mind that I know that there's dealerships right now that don't have a CRM. Like, that's
yeah, there is. When I consult a dealership,
2018.
When I consult a dealership, it is absolutely essential that they marry the CRM.
Yeah.
I mean, and you got some of these old car dog salespeople and managers that refuse to use the CRM or won't put all the information in. They can't stay in my world. But, the CRM dominates. We marry the CRM. The CRM is the heartbeat, the nerve center of the dealership. And yes. I believe that.
And the irony that I always find is all these questions. What is the best CRM out there? And it's kind of like, I like to compare it to a marriage too. Not that I've planned on getting divorced or ever would divorce, but it's like when you get divorced, it's going to cost you a lot of money. And like, if you get remarried, that second marriage, from what I hear, may not be better than the first. So it's kind of like with the CRM, it might not be the CRM. It might just be, I mean, CRMs are going to do similar things, give or take. There's some more archaic ones, than others, but how are you utilizing it?
There are two CRMs I generally recommend, and I'm not going to put it on this broadcast, but there's only two of them out there, and probably not the one most people think of. I don't like a CRM that's owned by a big company that owns a bunch of other companies.
Ooh, shots fired.
I don't like my information being shared all over the place with all these interrelated companies, especially my customer base. And, with the manufacturers now getting into, marketing themselves, the latest thing lately is the subscriptions. Have you heard about that?
No.
Where I know Weiler is really gearing up.
Oh, yes, I have.
Subscription buying, where people have different cars. And
have you checked out the Fair app?
Right. And what if that was a way to get around the franchise laws and because the manufacturers are already getting into subscriptions, and they actually have, the manufacturers actually have your leads before they hit your CRM.
Yeah, it's with the Fair app, have you looked at it at all?
Yes, I have.
It kind of blows my mind, because you think of from a customer perspective, to have no commitment, but to pay, what you want to pay, and then just set the miles, and then you can drop it off and replace it with something else, like on the fly like that. Or like the Weiler group, how it's just a monthly, a full monthly, and you just call them and they do everything and drop, like you say, I want to drive this, I want to drive that. I mean, it's a
definite sale in the end.
Yeah.
So, I've got my doubts about it, but I'm not opposed to it.
It'll be very, I mean, I feel as though with most things, there's even an app I think that you can download to see what you're actually subscribed to. Because if you think about just for me, like, I mean, there's so much stuff. There's Netflix, there's Hulu, there's my CRM, there's Apple iTunes. There's like so much stuff that you think of what we actually subscribe to, every month for a lot of people. And so putting like a car in that, which is a depreciating asset, a lot of people are going to say, yeah, I'd rather pay like $1,000 a month. And if I want to get a large SUV for the weekend, I can have it. If I want to drive a whatever vehicle for the week, I can swap out on the fly. It's a crazy concept, but I think, it's going to be interesting to see how that.
It really is. Oh, by the way, Ariel Velasquez on the side says, send me more info on Bambang. Ariel,
you got it.
We're not going to do it. Can't have it. You think you're going to get that handled, Elise?
Yes, I'm jotting it right now, actually.
Ariel's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
Do you know him?
Yeah, I think we actually just recently became Facebook friends pretty recently. So
okay, if I got volume, I just punched a button on my microphone. Did I turn it on or off?
I can hear you.
If you can hear me, I'm on.
Yep.
Yeah. Ariel is just moved to the mainland from Puerto Rico.
Oh wow!
Right after the hurricane.
Yeah.
He's working for a dealer that's a friend of mine in Tennessee. So he's heading up their internet department. Good guy. Mm-hmm. Let's see what kind of remarks we got on the side. Oh wow! Mabel Peralta is saying bomb is the bomb. She's really big on it.
It's and I love it because it's so good to see people. Again, it's a tool that so many people and it's not video email you can really utilize in any type of, I think, business or sales, but for automotive specifically, it's awesome to get like the screenshots and the things that people message me all the time on, like the real results that they're getting. Cause it's exciting when like you close a deal and it was because of that Bambang video email. And so, or customers will even reference it like, hey, it's because of the video. Like it's that big of a deal, right? When you take something and you, like we talked about earlier, you apply it.
Well, how about word scripts in the BDC? Mm-hmm. How about word tracks, word scripts, templates?
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit.
So what I've, when I worked retail, and what I found myself doing was writing similar things kind of over and over in two main categories, which were customers. I was making videos and had a process for customers with phone numbers and then customers without phone numbers. And then as I left retail and I started working with other dealerships, and I started to realize like, okay, well, I can actually fine tune this because now it's customers with and without phone numbers, but that initially inquire about this or initially inquire with a quote or initially inquire on TrueCar. So I developed kind of these subcategories of the two main categories. And there is the idea behind a template, if you're going to have them, personal opinion and from experience and other people that find this successful. But if you're going to have a template, it can't be any way, shape, or form a template, which means you need to really fine tune like what you're saying to that specific type of customer, right? Based off of things that you would only get if it was personal. So if you're going to do a template, make sure that it doesn't seem like a template. Is it short? Because nobody likes long emails. And is it fine tuned to that customer's needs, right? Does it apply to them? Based off of little details such as phone number or no phone number, right? You don't want to say, I just tried to reach you on the phone, or I just left a voicemail. The customer's like, well, no, you didn't, because I put a 555 number and that's interesting. This clearly is a template, right?
But yeah,
so, and then But really, all said and done, and I know you had Jason on your show or on the Facebook Live earlier. Texting is really big with, of course, texting regulation. But the idea that I've always found most successful is, and I see a lot of people aren't, not everybody agrees with this method, but a lot of times people utilize text. They're like, oh, I worked a whole deal over text. And it's like, okay, not to say you can't work a whole deal over text, but wouldn't you much rather convert that text, maybe volley it like a few times, warm up the relationship and then give a reason for a phone call? Because on a phone call, Jim, when you have your word tracks down, right, when you know the roadmap and you know the objections that are probably going to come up on that call and you know how to handle it, then that's going to be your best bet of an appointment, because a text is like, it's good, open communication, but then what if the customer just stops texting you, right? Or like you try and say something and like it comes off in the wrong way, or so to answer your question with, word tracks and phone skills, that's a lot of people I don't think enjoy that aspect of it as much. Like the video email sometimes is more fun and everything, but I'll tell you, when you have your phone game on too, it's pretty good. It's almost, I don't know. It's exciting. It's even for me, like I take a lot of phone notes.
Okay, when you have your phone game on, I love that. Now, I teach F&I schools, as you know.
Yeah.
And in the F&I school, one of the things I try to impress on F&I managers, whether they're brand new or whether they're seasoned, experienced professionals, it's not memorization, it's conversation.
Yes.
That's original Ziegler there. It's not memorization, it's conversation.
Right.
And I know there's a bunch of schools in South Florida that teach memorization F&I, where these people sound like little robots.
Can I quote you on that? Because I've never heard that, but same thing with the script. I'm like, if you're going to sound like a script, I hate the word scripts, because if you're going to sound like a script, then forget it. It's not going to work. But what is it? Memorization? Jim Ziegler quote.
It's memorization. It's not memorization. It's conversation.
Yes.
And you're welcome to use that in your classes, because I do that in all my F&I schools. It's not memorization, it's conversations. We're talking with the people. We're not talking at the people.
Right. Yes.
And it's so much. I got a word track I think you're going to like. Well, in the BDC, when the customer says, "Is that your best price?" Now, that's the most deadly moment in a car sale, in person, on the lot, on the phone. Is that your best price? You just gave them a figure, and and the customer said, "Look, I want your best price, and I don't want that back and forth crap between you and the manager."
Hey.
Well, sir, are you paying full price? Nope. Then you just created some back and forth crap. If you pay full price, we wouldn't have any of that back and forth crap.
Oh man, yeah.
I was happy with the first number I gave you. You set my salesman back. You're the one started the back and forth crap, Mr.
Well,
Customer.
it's can I meant so that the post recently in a invisible group that we won't talk about.
It doesn't exist.
Was one of those, it's everybody gets fired. It was like I don't know how many comments it has, but it was basically, how do you respond to this customer? The customer that sent you the form letter. It used to come in a good old fax machine that says, I'm shopping 20 dealers and this is what I want. And this is, blah, blah, blah. And do not call me. And I'm going for the, for the best price. I'm paying cash, no financing, no trade. And do not call me. Like, how do you respond? And it's always such an interesting thread to me, because so many people, like over half, are like, bounced, I'm out. Like, so if you figure that guy's sending it to 10 dealers, 5 of those dealers aren't even going to reply, right? No. And then you have 5 left, and 3 of them are going to try and call him and say, come on down, even though that's like not what the guy wanted. And so it's really a good chance, if that you spend a few minutes on when done properly. And what do you have to lose? And I guarantee results speak for themselves. If you spend the few minutes, you don't have to, if people think it's going to take an hour to do all this, like, why not just, send him a full, go OCD on him too. Send him the breakdown that he wants. Give him a PDF of it. have a video of you actually going over the figures, you know, maybe with like another report for market-based pricing.
When you did that.
Yeah.
Elise would always get on with the figures and show the customer, this is what it is. I mean, you show the customer line by line and explain it. Here's my word track. Now, this is only for a voice conversation.
Yeah.
And the customer says, okay, I say, Mr. Customer, that's $31,099. Is that your best price? And when it really is your best price, I mean, you can't go and you're on the bottom, you're up against the wall.
Right.
Here's my word track. Is that your best price? Oh, heavens, no, certainly not. No, there is a better price available, but that's the best price we're legally allowed to give on the telephone or in print. That was it.
Oh, okay. Well, then I was going to say, what if the customer says, well, that's okay. Well, the other dealer gave me this price. Like, what would you say to that? That's
okay. Well, sir, was it on identical? You're saying it's identically the same car because they spec'd it out identically. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah. I just hate to say. I mean, I don't want it to come off. It's a good word track, but honestly, when I think about it, like, what if the customer like is in the car business? He's all, that's not true. Like, come on, like, you know. So I don't.
Well, there is a point where you're not allowed to because the manufacturer won't allow you to.
Yeah.
Like with Honda, you can't give a figure below invoice.
Right. Right.
We'll sell one before invoice.
Invoice. Yeah.
You know,
no, it's
actually that is true. That's the lowest figure we're allowed to give.
Mm-hmm.
You can't give a figure below invoice on the Honda. They will not allow it.
Yeah.
You know,
I remember when there was a third party. Well, I guess we could say TrueCar when they were advertising below invoice, and it was kind of a.
I handled that.
Yep, I do remember. Yes, but now everybody loves Carrie. They're at Battle Plan.
Hey, Sandra Benstock-Delalio's on.
Oh, my Justin Timberlake like girl that's right up there with me with #obsession with Justin Timberlake. Okay.
Now, I've known Sandra for a long time.
Yeah.
And she says, nice seeing us. Oh, God, I've known her, and I know a lot of my New York friends up there.
Yes, they're amazing.
Yes, you do.
What was that?
You know Sandra?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, now. Oh boy, I'm getting a whole lot of people in the sidebar all of a sudden. So let me ask you, Elise, where does it go from here? Now you're actually going into dealerships, true?
Yes, going into dealerships and doing a lot of virtual sessions now. Very similar to, you know, like going into CRMs, making phone calls together, that kind of stuff done virtually and recorded. This year I'm going to be doing your battle plan, of course, not this next one, but the next one after that. This year there's been a lot of requests for some personal, like some workshops, not so conference based, but more like teaching my process in various cities and kind of anybody, even if anybody can attend basically. Well, people that want obviously know the process, but maybe their dealership doesn't do on-site training, or there's not enough people to do a full on-site training at that time. So it's something that everybody, I want everybody to benefit from, because it's been a request quite a bit. So something doing that, and then I have my online courses as well, like my recorded ones and my courses, like my Best Price Master course. I put that out as my first course because everybody wants to know, like, what would you do with a customer that wants best price, like beginning to end? Phone up, internet lead with no phone number, getting the customer on the phone and they say this, and this. Like, it just breaks down every little puzzle piece of everything that you probably haven't even, that it goes really deep into like a lot of the whole best price, the best price customer. So
I got off the road in May of this past year.
I saw that.
I announced I've been traveling 250 days a year for over 30 years.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of money to throw away. I was charging $7,500 a day to go in these dealerships.
Yeah.
And I walked away from it, so how does it wear on you?
It's definitely, yeah. I mean, there was a point where I mean, this as it was happening where, like 2015, I would be gone like the whole month, like 4 weeks in a row, maybe home on the weekend. But then if I was East Coast, I would just stay there for like over the weekend because it was pointless to fly back out to East Coast the following Monday or Sunday. So there were a lot of, and at that point we didn't have two, my husband and I, we didn't have two girls. We just had one. So I can definitely say like having Jalen, it's the 3 weeks and the 4 weeks out of the month is just, I make sure to have, the right schedule when it comes to just traveling and so forth. And, making sure I don't miss special moments with my daughters, but having that, for me, I'm the type of person where I like to work. I love what I do. It's not and I do love traveling, but it's, I definitely want to make sure that I'm not gone for very just important moments, with my two girls and my family.
I watched Lily from a bulge all the way till she was.
Oh man.
How old is she now? 5?
Yeah, she's 5. Yeah, she's 5. She has a boyfriend.
And now Jalen, and I'm wondering if Jalen has half the energy Lily has.
Oh, she does. We just went to the beach yesterday because it was 80 degrees here in California in January.
I'm in Florida. Blue sky.
That's right. So, but like the water here is very cold. It's not like Hawaii where it's warm. So, it was hot, but I didn't want, but Jalen, like no fear, just wanted to go into the water. And, she loved it. It was beautiful weather, but just the water here is it's like ice cold basically. John and I did what's called a polar dip, and everybody made fun of me. They're like, oh, a polar dip in California. It's the 1st of January where you run into the ocean. And so we did that, but it was still cold. It wasn't like, the outside was warm, but the water, it's cold.
No.
Yeah, Jalen though, so she's going to be 2 this year, and she's it's so crazy how opposite they are, but it's definitely it's good too cuz Lily's at an age where she's really fun, and she can, knows how to get dressed herself, and, knows how to, she's 5, but she's also very still like no filtered on a lot of the things that she might ask or say. But then it makes it easier because Jalen is still, she's not quite 2 yet. So, they're still like, she's still on her cycle of like naps and feedings and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's awesome.
Okay. Now, first of all, say somebody is dying to buy Bambang. I mean, somebody's just out there chomping bit. Now, they've been talking about Bambang. Bambang sells cars. Bambang. You got people like Peralta out there that are just killing it with Bambang. I mean,
right. So here's the thing. So Bambang yeah. So there's Bambang as a corporate company, and I love them to death. And what we're kind of talking about, I have a specific, Bambang is the software itself, but I offer additional, like a free training and some complimentary other stuff with the utilization of Bambang with me exclusively. So best way, because I'm going to be honest, we were talking about like computer crashes earlier, so I've kind of had some tech difficulties on my end. And so the best way, if you don't want to be in the cluster mess of my email right now, is can I just give my cell phone?
Yeah,
is that all right? Ahead. So it's 8 here. I'll write it down. I'll write it down for you guys. It's 805-441-3398. So that right there, like shoot me a text, boom, and you're getting a call like ASAP. It's
805.
Yes. Ooh, I'm gonna hold it up like this.
805-441. And what's the next?
3398. Yes.
Okay, I put it in the sidebar.
Oh yeah, there you go. So, but that's, I mean, and it's not, anything. Anybody it doesn't have to be Bambang specifically. It could be like, what were you saying about best price customers, or what like, I just like to, I love to stay involved with everybody that I stay involved with, you know, people that where like they, you know, that are they're in it, they're doing it, you know, they're like Mabel, they're you know, selling cars, or they work in a BDC, or they're managing a BDC, or I just love to. It's even though it's crazy. We were just, you know, talking about this earlier. It's been 4 years since I haven't worked retail. I still feel so involved, you know, because I'm in like a CRM or working with people at dealers like every day. So
I saw you the other day. You were live in a dealership. You were coaching the people. You were taking calls yourself. You were doing everything. You're still in it.
Oh yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
So if somebody wants you to come into a dealership, even though you're being more of a family person, you will do that, won't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So is properly scheduled. Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely a lot of, you know, I can remember going through training, working at a dealership, and none of it really stuck out to me, but also it was kind of like this grudge of like, oh, training. So knowing the other side of what it's like to get a lot of times, you know, training, I know that I got to put a positive and a fun spin on it. Right. Because just like when you sell cars, you want to be that salesperson that like gives a different experience. When I do training, I want it to be a different experience as well. You know, I want it to be something memorable, something that's going to give you a reason to actually apply and stick to things, rather than just like, hey, I'm a trainer over here and I'm going to, this is how you do it, you know?
That's amazing. Absolutely. I want to do a little commercial right now, if you don't mind.
Oh, absolutely. Guess
what's coming up in Clearwater, Florida in 10 days?
Ooh, we need like some music right now, Jim. Like, because I think it's Battle Plan.
Internet Battle Plan. I've got 20 top experts on stage over 2 days. It's February 12th and 13th. 12th and 13th. And the website, www.internetbattleplan.com. Sandra Delalio, Sandra, if you're still on here, write that in the sidebar for me, please. www.internetbattleplan.com. Now, dealer principals are free. General managers are free. Wax on, wax off. I mean, everybody's, you know, free. And call me. My phone number, I take my own phone calls. Call me anytime, 352-775-2174. Thank you so much. Save and now write my phone number, please. 352-775-2174. Area code 352-775-2174. Dealer principals are free. General managers are free. And I've lowered the cost to $595 per attendee. Elise,
wow.
Remember it was $1,500 a person when you first started doing.
Well, and you got to figure, you know, that was like in 2010, and you know, with inflation, and so that's a steal. That is like a steal.
$595.
That's nuts. I've never seen a deal like that out of all the battle plans that I've gone to.
Well, I want more people to be able to afford it, because right now the business is contracting.
Yep.
The business is slowing down. Now, it's not anything to do with the economy. The economy is soaring, but car business is saturated. We've sold 60 million cars, 4 years in a row, new and used, you know, 44 million used between the private sector and the dealerships. And the public, there's only 200 million licensed drivers. There's only 200 million people capable of buying a car. And we've been cramming 60 million cars a year into that customer base. And we've been financing them for 84 months. No wonder we're saturated. Grow or die. Grow or die. You crush or be crushed. Your dealership cannot stay where you are. And many of you dealers out there are technophobic. Hire this woman, Elise Kephart Adame. Find her, hire her, bring her in the dealership. Make your managers listen and do what she teaches, and come to Battle Plan. Learn the technologies. Your website is the showroom, and it is the battlefield.
Yes.
It's the battlefield. Google was the weapon. And if your people don't know how to use the tools, and don't be listening to these vendors telling you about influence and attribution, that's so bogus, it's unbelievable. Google Analytics is the measurement. Don't be following this bogus analytics that they're bringing in saying that they did 79% of your business. Excuse me. That's bull. No. Okay. Elise Kephart Adame, you have been so good on here today. I wish I had you for more time, but our hour is almost up. Anything you want to say to these people?
No, I'm just I'm really just happy with the connections that this industry has as a whole. You know, your relationship and my relationship, so many people that I've met through you, and just that we're, you know, I really like just being able to connect with everybody in automotive. So I think it's just a great industry. I wish more people knew about just the positive things that you can get out of life, out of it. Like I said, where you don't have to lie, cheat, steal. And I love our industry. It's awesome. It's amazing.
Okay. Well, Elise, it's hard to believe we've been on an hour.
Oh, we can do this like for you and I always like, we could just keep on talking for hours. Now it's just public now it's just on a Facebook Live.
But the way we talk all the time, you and I.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What's amazing is, you know, you and Debbie have also bonded. You know, you're like the daughter we never had, you know, we've become so close. I am so pleased we know you. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, internetbattleplan.com coming to Clearwater, Florida. Those of you sitting up there in Chicago and sitting up there in New York, Sandra, sitting there in New York, and those of you sitting in Wisconsin, February in Florida, what are you thinking? Teach at the beach. Battleplan.com. Elise, have a good one.
Thanks.